I know so many people out there have been having issues about how to use the Mixturebrush tool and how to set your Mixturebrush tool to do the skin retouching, right, in order to retain that nice and beautiful skin texture, and also where to know where to mix and the direction to follow when using the Mixturebrush tool every single time you're doing skin retouching using frequency separation. So this is a tutorial that is going to help you answer all those questions. And if at all you find this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button on this video so that YouTube can push and recommend this video to so many people out there. And the image you're going to be using today is taken by a photographer, and I'm going to put her rather Instagram link in the description of this video so that you guys can check her out. She is an amazing portrait photographer. So we're just going to be working with this image and understand every single thing about using a Mixturebrush tool, how to change that nice and beautiful skin texture, where to know where and the direction to apply the Mixturebrush tool in order to have the best results out of the images using frequency separation. So like I said, we're just going to come to the background layer, and usually I have very long lengthy tutorials about frequency separation, but in this case we're just going to come and use a frequency separation action. So if at all you want these actions and you don't have them, you can support this channel by simply checking the links in the description of this video, and you can simply purchase or buy my Retouching Essentials pack that is going to be containing these actions right here. So enough of talking about that. You can see right now I have a 16-bit image. You can see I have 16 right here. So the very first step you have to take into consideration is playing the right frequency separation action for the right image. So I'm just going to come right here and I'm going to play my 16-bit frequency separation action. And usually it stops at this point. So it is at this point where we determine usually the amount of skin details that we want to blur or remove out of the image. Remember, the details you blur out from the image on this point are the details that you're going to be remaining with in your final image. So just come to the radius and simply take this up to a point when the details are just starting to completely disappear from the image. So at around 10, so I'm just going to type in 10. So at around 10, that is when I'm just starting to lose out on the details. So make sure you don't take this all the way up, because you have to keep on looking at the image and you can still identify the facial structures in the image, but at the same time blurring out the information within the textures of the skin. So I'm just going to come and hit OK, and this is going to take a short while to play. And when it is done, you can see in my action I usually have a black and white layer, but don't mind if at all you don't have this black and white layer within your frequency separation action. So just going to come and I'm going to delete that so that you can understand each and everything. So we are done applying the action. So the major emphasis is about the Mixturebrush tool, and when you're using the Mixturebrush tool to blend or even out the skin tones within the image, usually we come and we select the low frequency layer. Remember, this is the layer that is going to be containing the colors or the skin tones that you're going to be blending using the Mixturebrush tool. So just come, the first step is to select the low frequency layer right here, or the layer containing the colors in the frequency separation action. So select the low frequency layer, then simply come under the brushes and right click and get your Mixturebrush tool. So you right click under the brushes and get the Mixturebrush tool. This is for newer versions of Photoshop, and if at all you have an older version of Photoshop, you may be finding your Mixturebrush tool right here. So just right click and you look for a Mixturebrush tool. So after doing that, we just want to set the Mixturebrush tool. Remember, we are done selecting it. So just come right here and make sure the hardness is at 0%, and make sure you select clean brush and you select this option which says clean the brush after each and every stroke, meaning when you're trying to blend the skin tones, remember skin tones usually have different colors, so make sure it is clean every single time you're blending every single area. And when you select this option, it enables Photoshop to automatically clean the brush for us as we are trying to blend or mix the colors within the skin tones right here. So the weight I'm going to be using is 9%. The load is 75%, the mix is 90, and the flow is 100%. And after doing all that, meaning you have set the brush quite well, but that is not all. Remember, different people may be having different tutorials about all this and different settings, but I prefer to use this because I've always tried and used it on different images and it works for me. Like I said, the weight is 9, load 75, mix at 90, and the flow 100. So after setting that, make sure sample areas is not checked, because when you check this option, it means the mixer brush tool is going to also sample information and embed it within the brush. So when you start painting on the skin, it is also going to paint texture within this selected low frequency layer. So undo that. So if at all your Mixer Brush tool is showing this cross icon, make sure you disable or click on the caps lock key to get the Mixer Brush tool the way it is. And in order to increase or decrease on the size of the Mixer Brush tool, you can use the open and close brackets on the keyboard to do that for you. So that's the shortcut for increasing or decreasing on the size of your Mixer Brush tool. So after doing all that, we are now going to start to know where to identify or where to know or where to identify where to mix or blend the skin tones and where not to mix. And the trick I tend to use in this case, I simply come and I turn off the texture or high frequency layer. This is the technique number one that you can use to understand or see where to blend and where not to blend in your images. So turn off the high frequency layer, and when you're done doing all that, you can now identify where to blend and where not to blend. So let me show you something quick right here. So you can see when you leave on the texture layer, you can see you can't quite well identify where to mix and where the skin tones are having uneven skin tone transitions. But when you turn off the textures and you select it on the low frequency layer, right now you can see the uneven skin tone inconsistencies or skin tone transitions right here. And in order to use the Mixer Brush tool, make sure you reduce it on the size depending on the area that you want to work on by using the open and close brackets on the keyboard. So, and how to apply it, simply left click and hold down that button and you drag that in a direction of the shape of the area you're trying to work on. So just do that. So you're trying to mix the colors that are looking alike in this image. Just do that and blend or mix those colors. And where they're trying to transition from, for example, one color to another, just come and mix that border or that surrounding area so that they can transition quite well or even better. And as you're doing all this, make sure you don't over zoom in just like this, because when you do this, you won't be able to see the uneven skin tone transition. So make sure you blend at a distance by using Ctrl or Command minus to zoom out. And now you can see this area right here has those uneven skin tone transitions. So get a smaller brush and now reduce on the size and just blend those areas and increase on the size and work on a way different area. And as you're doing this, your image is going to turn out to look a little bit plastic, but the reason for that is because we turned off the texture layer and we are only working or dealing with colors in this instance. So just come and blend just like that. So let me show you on the neck area right here. You can see that we have those skin tone inconsistencies. So just increase on the size and blend just like that. So you move the Mixer Brush tool in the direction, you can see neck moves from up to down. That's why I'm moving the Mixer Brush tool in an up down kind of movement, just like that. And you can see it really works really great and it works well. So you can see right here, I'm moving the Mixer Brush tool in the direction the way or a given area is shaped in the image, just like that. And I'm just trying to mix colors that are looking alike so that they can really transition quite well. Remember, skin retouching is more about working with the skin tones first and you remove the blemishes either before or after the process. So come back and turn on the texture layer, and now look at the image. Just look at the before and after, just see what we have just done using the Mixturebrush tool. So after doing that, you can incorporate another technique, that is using the lasso tool. But if at all you are comfortable with the process, you can stop right there. And like I said, make sure this option is not turned on when you're using your Mixturebrush tool. So make sure some orders is not turned on, and you can work with that. So just come and make sure that is not always turned on, because when you leave it turned on, it's going to be painting textures that we don't want in the image. Just look at how ugly that looks. So make sure you do all this, and when you do it perfectly, you're going to be having a very nicely and beautifully retouched image that has nice and beautiful skin details that are natural enough after skin retouching using the Mixturebrush tool. So basically, this is it for using the Mixturebrush tool in Photoshop using frequency separation. And if at all you have found this helpful, don't forget to like this video, and don't forget to subscribe this channel. If at all you have been watching and you're not subscribed this channel, Ronix from Ronix Photography. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in yet more amazing tutorials. And don't forget to keep practicing and also keep creating.